Here they are, the xi'an rods, or how they are called in xi'an, eniatoite, or light, can be held with one hand. There is one for each mononeedle using during the treatment. You insert the desired mononeedle, which is stored in the compartment inside the rod. When placed on the patient, the rod manages the mononeedle with anti-gravity. Can be used in place with gravity due to its anti-gravity features. That's a thing. Make note of that. So as you can see, "if" means health and "eniato" means artificial, so artificial health. The xi'an rods are composed by a ballistic scanner, a quantic calculator, a electron pulsator for the electrons placement and withdrawal orientated by the mononeedles, all with calculated inferred electric current, and the anti-gravity field generator, which levitates the xi'an rod right above the patient's skin where the mononeedle is to be inserted, and it manages the mononeedle's placement or insertion when needed. They are rare in UE space, but I'm sure that we can see them with xi'an Yahuawong, or emissaries, or xi'an emissaries, or xi'an ambassadors, or even maybe xi'an humanitarian aid. The good thing about the xi'an rods is that the patient can move while being treated. The xi'an rods follow the patient, but requires more processing power to calculate the electronic placement. And they're also adaptable for desmosmal electroneeding. This is one of the branches of my continuous project using xi'an acupuncture to treat other species. Here you can see one of the samples. And the coaping check, which are the monatomic tip needles. They provide a precise flow of electrons due to its monatomic tip. The needles are redirected with nanoscale precision, providing the perfect placement of the monatomic tip or on or through the skin surface. Make note of that. Making the electrons flow precisely to where they need to reach. So you can see here that the tip of the monatomic needle is 1 atom thick. So the tip is just 1 atom of said material. Mononeedles can be made out of many things: minerals, metals, alloys, metamaterials, and they are basically based on thermoelectric conductivity. You can have gold needles, agricium, gallium, praseodymium, rubidium, titanium, tungsten, baxalite, dolivine, heidenite. Heidenite could be a good one. Aphrite, hephaestonite, terranite, selenium, dimension, xi'an, which is a xi'an alloy. Because of the way of how this technology is designed, there are 2 modes, the low intensity mode and the high intensity mode, which cares for the needle conservation or one-use treatment. The mononeedle becomes useless after the loss of its monatomic tip, which can be damaged by thermal and or mechanical stress. So after we use the needles for our treatments, what can we do with them later? Can they be reforged, recycled, recrafted? Based off the blueprint, of course.
Can humans make needles with the same quality, regardless of the materials used?
Again, always under the protect our wildlife guidelines, okay? One of the factors is the pulse's voltage charge. An electric pathway needs more charge when facing greater electric resistance. That's more heat per pulse on a mononeedle. And faster computers have more chance to find a better, less resistant electric pathway, less heat per pulse on the mononeedle. One thing to account for when you're using human computers, they struggle when the patient moves because of the changes in the tissue disposition. faster charge pulses or high frequency rate. Depends. The mononeedle will build the heat faster. Will the mononeedle's integrity hold until the treatment is complete? And yes, I even tried on CNUTs. It works. I've started to notice that some of the patients with similar kinds of TREchoes would have different outcomes using the same treatments. To answer that, I had to turn to the Litova religion, where there's a statement which says, "The greater the thought, the greater the action." And for me, greater thought means more synapses. Converting that for computers, that would simply means processing power, which in turn converts to processing speed. That's when it hit me. Some treatments protocols only work when done within a time period. Ooh, that day was wild. That's the only comment I'm going to give about on this picture. I still remember Silas Corner words on Einstein on the Pioneer's debut.
Albert Einstein, the man who redefined human understanding of the universe. He once said, "The person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. The person who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever seen before."
I've walked alone, and the place that I found myself in is amazing. Now, let's talk about our own ways to perform xi'an acupuncture. Well, the main difference of our own way to perform it is that we can't perform xi'an acupuncture on planets. There are too many variables acting on the body to be calculated, and gravity makes the calculations take way longer. You can even try zero-G rooms on planets, but that even consumes more processing power because instead of one vector acting on the body, which is gravity, you have two vectors, which is gravity and then the artificial anti-gravity. And you bet that we weren't able to fit all these features into these little xi'an rods. Our version of the technology has two cables coming out of the main console, which has tractor beam capabilities. These are coupled with the mononeedles for managing the nanopositioning and the intensity of the electric pulses. In zero-G, basically space station clinics, the cables in the patient stay still while the computer scanner keeps measuring the patient. The scanner must be aimed at the patient at all times. And in order to test our own version of this technology, we did a little experiment inside a Endeavor biodome. Props and thank you for Sargent for this picture. Now let's go a little bit closer. Let's go inside of it, see what's going on there. Remember, all these procedures were made using the Protect All Wildlife guidelines for the 5 Liberties expression. But you can see how we made the technology works within our own limitations. But it works. We have to do it on zero-G, but it works. And since our version of the technology can successfully apply the treatment, we can also adapt our same technology for desmosomal electroneating. And on this subject, if you have faster computers, you can create solutions with more agility, requiring less time to seal the knit. Some treatment must occur within a time limit, otherwise it won't seal the knit, the quantum entanglement disruption field, and the quantum energy will start to ooze once again. And the availability of these computers can be based on tiers, like 1 to 5 tier or 1 to 3. Up to you, CIG. Up to you, UE. Sorry. Again, all made using the Preserve All Wildlife guidelines for the 5 Liberties expression.